Hello, welcome to day 3 of the training. I hope you've been enjoying the training so far. And today we'll be talking about data cleaning, data transformation, and data collection with SPSS. So basically, we'll be trying to repeat or do everything we did with Excel yesterday, the data cleaning and data transformation aspect. We'll be trying to do it with SPSS. And also, we'll also talk about data collection with SPSS. Now, after you've collected your data with paper, maybe you use a paper questionnaire, for you to enter that data into SPSS, it's not as straightforward as entering data into Excel, where you can just open the application and just enter your data. For SPSS, you need to actually create an SPSS data file that is suitable for that particular questionnaire that you've actually for your questionnaire specifically. That's very important. So that particular file is called an SPSS template. So you need to create an SPSS template first, then you can now enter your data into it. I'll teach us how to do that in today's class. So let's go ahead. So the first thing is, when you're working with SPSS, how do you know if you have missing value or not? That's the first question we want to answer. Why I'm not sure if SPSS have the filter button thing like we saw in Excel. But one way you can know if you have missing value in SPSS is by running descriptive statistics. So I'm just going to highlight the gender variable and then right click and then choose descriptive statistics. Now, when I do that, you can see it's saying this statistics is telling us, oh, we have 101 valid values and then one missing values. Okay, so the data set I'm using with SPSS is slightly different from the one I use with Excel. So now we can see that we have one missing value. So that's one way. That's like, what if, let's check for this one also, and then descriptive. So it's telling us that this has one missing value too. But you can see that the descriptive statistic that is computed for both the gender variable and the mental health score variable is slightly different. That's because while gender is a nominal categorical variable, mental health score is a continuous variable, so it does not really require frequency, while gender requires frequency. But in the same vein, we can see mode, range, minimum, maximum under gender. That's really doesn't make too much sense for a nominal categorical variable too. Okay, so now we've been able to identify that we have um missing values. So you can do that for all the variables in your data to know if you have missing values. So now after that, we can determine what we want to do with the missing values. Maybe we want to remove the row, or we want to input particular value, mean, median, and all of that. But after running descriptive statistics for mental health, you can see that the output view already tell us what the mean, median, so we can just make our choice. But if you want to remove a row in now in SPSS it is called case. If you want to remove a case, so you can simply highlight it, right click, and then choose clear, and that will remove that particular row. Okay, so another thing we did is that we need to know if we have duplicate values, and then we are using the ID variable. So what can we do? In Excel we use conditional formatting, but here in SPSS simply go to data and then go to data and then click on identify duplicate cases, and here we want to use the ID, so bring in the ID here. This is checked. Move margin cases to top of file, then display frequency for created variable. Okay, I'm just going to click on okay now, and then now we can see that we have 9 duplicate cases and then like 3 primary cases, like those that are not duplicates. Now if we close this now, you can see here that it's now telling us it has moved all occurrence of duplicates. It's moved them up so we can easily see them, and it also help us to create an extra variable to actually indicate if that is a duplicate case or not. So in case of duplicate now, you can simply highlight the column, right click, and then clear to delete the duplicates. So that's possible. Okay, so we can also sort data in SPSS. To sort, come to data, Click on sort cases. As I said, cases are the rows. If you sort variables, it will just sort it based on the column. So sort cases, and then I want to sort by this indicator, this one that is indicating if it's primary or duplicate. Then I want to do ascending, then okay. So after that, you can now see all the duplicate cases are showing first, then the primary cases. So I just want to highlight everything so that I can delete them. So I'll just right click and then press clear, and then I want to choose everything. So I've cleared all the duplicate cases, and now I can remove this column because I don't need it. And now I want to actually sort by ID. So instead of going the long way, you can also right click a particular column and then choose to sort by that column. So I want to sort ascending by the ID, and then this is what we have. SPSS also have find and replace, but presently I'm just going to modify this data set so that we can have something to replace. But I'm actually confused a bit. This height is showing as 2, like O number. Why is that the case? If you come here, presently decimal place is 0. I'll change that to 2. Let's see what we have. Okay, so now the height the height was showing as O number, which is not what we want. So you can come here to variable view and then assign a particular decimal number to each variable. So for the weight also, I'll make that to be 2 decimal place. For the mental health score, that should also be 2 decimal place. So now this is okay and better now. So I want to show us how to do find and replace in SPSS. I'm just going to replace, I'm going to type 3 here just to show us 3, under exercise regularly. So now something is wrong. This 3 is like a data entry error and is meant to be 1. So assuming this happens in several rows of this data set, you might not want to be doing it manually. So to kind of replace it, what you can do, you can go to transform data. Then now we have code into the same variable, and we also have code into different variable. If we are coding into the same variable, now what that means is that it's going to replace the 3 in this particular exercise regularly column. But if you want to code into another variable, it's going to create a new variable and then do define and replace also. So I want to choose code into the same variable, and then I'm going to put in exercise regularly into this box. Then click on old and new values. Then the value is 3 and I want to replace it with 1. Then I will click on add. Then I can click continue. So all of these, there are other options for doing find and replace. You can do it for a particular range and all of that. So I'm just going to click continue and then okay. And then if you go back to our data, this 3 has been changed to 1. And also create new variables in SPSS from the data that I have before. So in this case now I have height and I have weight. So I want to create BMI. The formula for BMI is weight over height square. So I'm just to do that now. I'll go to transform, and now I'm going to go to transform and I'm going to choose compute variable. So here, what is the name of my new variable? That is BMI. And then numerical expression, that's like your formula, like what you write in Excel. So it's keep my mind to show this in the Excel video. I can try it out and try to do something similar in Excel and let me know if you are able to get it. So now that I just need to put in my weight here, then divided by what's height raised to power 2. So this is height. And then I can just look for the raised to power symbol. But in SPSS, raised to power is this. I'm not going to put 2 and let's see what happens. Now that has worked. So coming here now, we now have a column for BMI. You can do something similar in Excel, so you should try that out. Thing you can do in SPSS is that you might want to take a variable and create another variable out of it in form of grouping. So for BMI now, you can use BMI to actually determine if someone is underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese. So now I want to use SPSS for that. Now we are also going to go to transform data, and then now it's going to be recoded into different variables. Why? Because we want our BMI column to still exist after we have created the new variable. If you want to actually replace the BMI column with the new column entirely, then you can choose recode into the same variable. So I'll choose recode into different variable, and then we are using the BMI column. And now what's the name? I want to call the new column probably weight range or something. You have to know that for your name in SPSS, you cannot put space. If you put space, it will not allow it, and then you can ignore that. Click on change, and then add a new value now. So now we can't use value in this case. Okay, now we are going to be using range. So I'm not sure what the minimum value is here. I'm just going to put 0 and say, okay, if it's from 0 to 18.5, then that is underweight. But I cannot actually type underweight here, but I can type like the code. I talked about coding a particular category with a number. So I can type 1 to actually mean the underweight. I'm going to type 1 and then add. Then the next range is going to be, let's say 18.51 to 24.9, and that is for normal weight. So I'm going to call that 2 under the new value box here. Then click on add also, and then the next one will be 24.91 to 29.9, and then I'm going to call that 3 to represent overweight. So now the last group is obese. I necessarily don't need to type anything, especially because I don't know the maximum value here. So I'm just going to say all other values, with the hope that I don't have anything that is less than 0 in my data, so that it will not misgroup it. So all other values, which should mean everything that is greater than 29.3, would take 4. I'm going to click on add, then click on continue. I just want to show us something. This system missing, if you have missing value in a particular column or variable and you want to replace it with a particular value, you don't need to do it one by one. And just come here and choose system missing and put whatever value you want to replace it with here. Okay, I'm just going to click on continue now, and then make sure you click on change if not it won't work, and click on OK. And now we have a new column, a new variable that is called weight range, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. But really, these numbers is not making sense. We need to actually code it into what it means so that it can make sense to us. So I'm going to come here to variable view, and using here now, I'll come to the value section under the variable view, and I'm going to say 1 means what? Underweight. So I'll type underweight here. Then 2 means normal weight. So I'll type normal weight here. 3 means overweight. So if you press tab now, it's still going to come here, or you can just click on add. Then 4 means obese, and then I'll type add, then I'll click on add, then okay. So now we've been able to code those things properly. So if you come here now and then I just change this, you'll be able to see it as the real thing it represents, and then as the code. The 2 decimal place here doesn't make sense, so I'll just come here and make that 0, and then yeah. So that's really that with data cleaning, data transformation with SPSS. Now we'll be going into how to create an SPSS template file for data entry. So you can save this. You need to save it. Save. You can save it and then close it. Then open a new SPSS file for the template thing that we want to create. You can also close the output file. So you have to know that the output file is saved separately. So if you don't want to lose this output file, if you need the results that is there, you need to save it specially, like separately from the one you've saved before, which is just the data file. So okay, so now we want to create an SPSS template file for data entry for this particular questionnaire. I'm sure you must have seen this before. I must have sent it to you to fill it. And the next thing is you want to create an SPSS template file for this particular questionnaire. So let's get right into it. So SPSS, and we need to save your file. Well, you will not be able to save it if you've not entered anything there. So we can just come to variable view. And then what is the first question in this question? Yeah. Okay, first thing is the first section is demographic information. So that is usually the section A. And then the first question is question 1, which is age. So now here on the variable view, we have name, we have type, we have all of this. You need to and to define your variable. What we want to do now is we want to I'm going to okay what we want to do now is we want to define our variables, right? So to define your variables, you need to input all of these or most of these. So for the name, as I said earlier, for your name you cannot input space, and really previously the name cannot even be very long. But what I do is that I name these according to the section and the number, and then the label can now carry the full name. For example, section A, question 1, now I'm going to name it A1. I'm going to name it A1. So that's the age. And then the data type is numeric. Not because 18 to 24 is like numeric in quotes, but because I'm going to code it as a numeric value. I'm going to say 18 to 24 is 1, 25 to 34 is 2. So therefore, that data type is going to be referred to as numeric. But let's say okay, we are going to get there. Data type is going to be referred to as numeric. And for this width, it's really not significant. For the decimal place, I will make it to be 0. And for the label, I can now come here and then copy. This is what I do. I just separate my screen into two so that my work will be faster. Copy the question and paste it here. And okay. So now that is question 1, which is the age. And then for the value now, similar to what we've done before, 1 is what? 18 to 24. You can type it or you can split your screen and just paste it. And then 2 is 25 to 34. Then 3 is 35 to 44. Then 4, 45 to 54. Then 5 is 55 and above. So you've also another thing missing, really not touch that one. And then we have mayor. Remember the scale of mayor that we mentioned in the first class. So now in SPSS, you have 3. We have scale, you have ordinal, and you have nominal. One thing you should know that is that interval and ratio, they actually fall under they fall under scale. Okay, then so now if I may ask you, this age, which is in form of age group, is it ordinal or nominal? Okay, it is ordinal. So then you assigned it, and then this one is not going to affect us, so we can leave it. Now the next one is gender. So I'm just going to come here, and that is still section A, question 2. I'm going to come here and type A2, and then numeric, this decimal place 0. The label is gender, so I'm just going to type the question, and also come here and say, okay, 1 is male, 2 is female, then 3 for others. And also you need to come here and define the mayor, and this one is actually nominal. So we can do the same thing. It's pretty the same thing for occupation, for level of, for all everything in section A, right? I expect you to actually finish this up, even if I don't finish it. Good. So the next thing we are doing now is section B. So when I get to section B, I'm just going to call it B1 for the first item. Yeah, I'm just going to call it B1 for the first item under it. So that's B1. And then it can still be numeric, decimal place 0. For the label now, I'll come here to copy it. And I'll just come here and paste it. So you can type it out manually if you want. For the values now, you can use 2 scale. It's either you want to use a 0 to 4 scale, or you want to use a 1 to 5 scale. Personally, I want to use a 1 to 5 scale. You can communicate with your supervisor and ask your supervisor which scale that you should use, right? So for me, I want strongly disagree to be 1, disagree 2, neutral 3, agree 4, and then strongly agree 5. So I can just come here and say 1 and then type strongly agree here. And then 2, I'll type disagree. Then 3, that will be neutral. 4 is going to be agree. Then 5 will be strongly disagree. Okay, so now we've coded that. So for B2, you can simply come here and type B2. Then we have 5 there, B3, B4, B5. And then for me, I can copy some of these things. For example, I copied the 0 and I'm just going to paste it there now. And for the labels, I can also copy it. So all of these make my work faster anyways. Just make sure you're copying the right thing. And for this one also, I will copy it. So I've already selected it now. I'm just going to copy it, then come here and paste it. So I'm really done with coding for that section. And then here is also going to be ordinal. And I can still copy that and then paste for the rest too. Nice. Copy, then come here. Okay, so I'm done coding for section B. So you can do the same thing for section C. And don't forget, this one is neutral. It's meant to be neutral. And then, so now that's done. That's that. So we also have practice. We've done something similar. You can code for these ones too. The one I want to really talk on now is this select all that applies. So when you have questions like this select all that applies, now how are you going to work on it? Because assuming the person can only select one question, one option, then they can just select to-do list, calendar, and then you can just code that to-do list is equals to 1, calendar is 2, time blocking is 3, stuff like that. But if respondent can select all that applies, then you have to kind of use another method sort of for your coding. So this is section D, and I'm now going to have D, and this is question 16. So I'm going to call it D what? Let's call it this 16. But assuming section D has 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of this 16, it will be better. So I'm going to call it this 16 anyways. Now because it is select all that applies, I'm going to have this 16A, and then the label for this 16A is going to be to-do list. So to-do list. And then for the values, it can take a yes or no response, in which 1 will be equals to yes, and then 0 is going to stand for no. So, and now we can have this 16B, this 16B, this 16C, and so on and so forth. And then the values here, the label will be each of these options, and then the values will be yes or no. What this means is that if someone check to-do list, someone select to-do list, then the column for to-do list will have yes. I hope you are getting this. Why if the same person also checks calendar, then calendar for the person will also carry yes. If the person checks time blocking will also carry yes. So that means technically this is not exactly one question. This is going to result in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to result in like 6 questions or 6 variables in our data set. That has to do with coding of multiple choice question in SPSS. I really hope we get that. Now there's another form that your multiple choice question can come, but really I don't have an example of that here. I'll try to create something now. Okay, I just try to create this to kind of communicate this important thing also. So assuming you have a question like this in which, so this question says I use these time management techniques. So this question is asking, okay, to-do list, do you use it like with paper, like you write it down on paper, or electronic means maybe like your phone? Same thing with calendar, and then we have these others also. So in this case now, you can't, if we do the 16A stuff, it's going if you do the 16A stuff, it can only capture for maybe paper alone. It won't really capture what we want also. So in this case, what you will do is you are going to actually you are going to kind of number both the column and the row. So you can number the column as A. You can number the column in form of alphabets, and then number the rows in form of maybe numbers or Roman numerals. So you can call this one I, then you can call this one II. In this case, the person can use both paper and electronic to-do list like me. So now that means I'm going to check the box for paper, and I'm also going to check the box for electronic. So how can we now enter this data? How can we code our questionnaire to be able to code our SPSS template to be able to enter this data? What you can do in this case now, let's assume this question is number 17. You're going to call the first one 17AI. So what this 17AI stands for is that it stands for, so you can come to label, okay, 17AI. So what is this? Why is it not accepting it? Can accept 17. Oh, okay. So for your SPSS, you cannot use number for the name. You cannot use number as the first character. So that's why it's not accepting it. So let's assume that is section E. Anyway, section E 17AI. So what this 17AI will stand for now under the label is going to stand for to-do list. It's going to stand for to-do list that is actually for paper. So in that case, if I choose paper now, then this one will be coded as yes or no also. So in that case, if I choose paper, then you can enter that data for me as yes. If I also choose electronic, you can have E17 AII now, like 17 then AII. Then you can come here and call it to-do list. And call it that one to-do list electronic. And then it will also be coded as yes or no. So if I select the two, I will have yes for the two. So you will do the same thing for other columns and other rows. I hope we get that. So don't forget to save your SPSS file after you are done with coding your questionnaire. Then you have to come here, click on file, and then save it. Then give it a befitting name, then save it. That is very, very important, because if SPSS does not have autosave, at least what I know of, if you mistakenly close your file without saving it, it is gone. Otilo. So I hope we know that this is just like a rough draft of the template file. This is me just trying to show us how it works. I don't want to go ahead to do everything one by one. You should actually do everything so that you'll be very, very familiar with the process. Go ahead and create the full template file for this particular questionnaire. Make sure you do it. So I'm done with coding my own questionnaire. I've completed everything, all the questions. You should do your own too. I'm not going to send this file. Code your own and have your file like this. And so this is actually what we call an SPSS template, because this questionnaire, this SPSS file has been coded specifically for this questionnaire. So this particular template will not work for another questionnaire, but for this questionnaire is going to work perfectly. How would you enter the data after you've created the template? You need to come to data view, and then you can see all the variables that you've created here, A1, A2, and so on and so forth till the last one. So you can come to A1 now. So I told you that each row here is a case. Each row is referred to as case, and you can also is like a particular respondent data. So if this questionnaire has been filled by one person now, this particular one that is there, you can see that it has been filled. We are going to assume this is a single questionnaire that has been filled by one person, and in that case, all the data in this questionnaire will be entered into one row. That is, will be the data for just one respondent, and that is one case in SPSS. If you pick another questionnaire, then you enter the person's data as second one, then the next one, like that. So for this first person now, so the age, you know that A1 is age, so age is 18 to 24, and if you remember, we coded 18 to 24 as 1, so you only need to type 1 here, and you see it has changed to 18 to 24. Immediately you type 1, you don't need to type the 18 to 24. So personally, I feel one good thing about coding as number really is that it makes data entry faster. So imagine, it's better to type 1 than to be typing long stuff. So if you come here, you come to this place, this value label, we click on it, it will change to the value, and we click on it, it can change to the label too. So now the A2, which is gender, this person is female, and we coded female as 2, so we need to enter 2 there. A3, occupation and student as 1, so enter 1 here. And then A4, educational level, this person is a graduate, so that is 3. Then we'll go to the second one, B1. So for this one now, for B1, for the first question, this person choose strongly agree, which is 5. And then actually, the way I'm moving this cell, you can use your cursor to move to the next box, or you can just press tab and it moves to the next box too. So tab down, and then strongly agree for the second one also, that's 5. For the third statement here, strongly disagree, that is 1. For the next one, strongly disagree, that is 1. And next one, strongly disagree also, that is 1. For option C now, the first one is strongly disagree, that is 1. The next one is strongly agree, that is 5. Then strongly agree, 5 again, strongly agree, 5, strongly agree. Then for question D now, for D15, now I coded my own as never is 1, rarely is 2, sometimes 3, often 4, and then always as 5. That's how I coded it. So now that means this always now, that is 5. Now sometimes the number you coded it for might have meaning, sometimes it does not matter. If you are dealing with a nominal data, then it doesn't matter what number you assign to anyone. But if you are dealing with ordinal data, the number you assign matter. For example, there's something called Likert scale. For Likert scale, they are usually ordinal data. So they are ordinal data. So if you have strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree, that is a Likert scale. So then it is ordinal. So it will make sense to, maybe you want to do 1 to 5 or 5 to 1. For example, you might want to say strongly agree is 5, agree is 4, neutral is 3. Or you might want to go the opposite route to say strongly agree is 1, neutral agree is 2, neutral is 3, and like that. But most times, or maybe sometimes, more work that I've worked with, strongly agree will kind of carry the larger score. For example, if you have a positive statement now, and then that means if the person is doing this, that should have a larger score, because you might need to aggregate the score later by maybe adding it, finding sum or finding mean. So it might mean that the higher the score, the better maybe the person's attitude or knowledge or something in that particular case. Though in some cases now we might have negative questions, and then you have to now kind of recode or reverse code your data. We are going to also talk about that later on too. So for always, that is 5, that's the 15. For this 16 now, this is where we have the multiple choice question. So for this 16A, this person chose to do list, so I'm going to have 1 here, which means the person is using to do list. Calendar also 1. Then okay, I'm going to delete erase. So I'm going to erase this. So I'm going to assume the person did not choose this Pomodoro technique. So if the person did not choose it, then you are going to enter 0, which means no, which means the person does not use it. I hope you get the point of multiple choice this thing now. Okay, so then the next one, time blocking, is also used, so that's 1 also. And then for this order, now for orders, okay, for none of the above is no. Okay, let's just, actually that none of the above doesn't really make sense. If it's none of the above, then the person will not just select anything. For question 16F, which is saying orders, you have 2 options actually. Let's look at how I coded my own. For 16F, you have 2 options. It's either you want to just say it's orders without really specifying what the person imputed there, and so that in that particular case, you are going to code orders as maybe yes or no too. But in some cases you might want to specify what the person actually typed, and that will be in word. You can't code that one as number. So in that case, for data type here, what I assigned there is what is string. That means text. Then okay, now number of character is very important here. It's very important. So assuming the person here wrote okay, what time management tools do you currently use? Let's look for a longer option. I know this Pomodoro technique is also here. Let's assume that that's what the person wants to enter. Yes, I'm going to just go here and try to type it in this place. Now you're going to see what happens. So it's not allowing me to type more than 8 characters. That is because this width here is 8 characters. So if you need to enter text data, and then the text that will be entered might be plenty, then you need to change it and give it enough room, else you will not be able to enter more than that, more than what you specified here. And if you are pasting in the data, it won't paste in everything. So if I change this to maybe 20 now, then if I go back, it's going to allow me to type whatever I want to type. So I hope you get that. For this 17, always is also 5. For the 18, and now these ones, there is this is just like a nominal data. So these are adjust my schedule immediately. I coded it as 1, and then the next one now. Okay, do you regularly evaluate yourself? Okay, that's also 5. Okay, I have another orders here, but what I was trying to explain, I already explained it. So under the orders for this particular question. So okay, in fact you can still code your orders here in your DNC and code it as, so that's 1 2 3 4 5, and then see now have an extra column to now specify the specific text that is inside that way your data will be more robust actually. Okay, so for D19, that is always, and that is still 5. Then for D20, how satisfied are you? So these I coded it 1 to 5, very unsatisfied 1, unsatisfied 2, neutral 3, satisfied 4. So that means here we are going to have 4 here. Then now this, don't mind me, this is not what I showed you like in the earlier part of the video, but this is still what I'm trying to explain. So this is like in a grid format. It can also take multiple choice. So the way I've coded it now, let me just show us here. So I've numbered it, these ones A to E, and these ones I to 5. So now if I have EAI now is this part is to-do list and work study, and see the way I've written the label here. So then EAII is to-do list and personal tasks. So you can actually have a look at this. So if I come here now for this particular person, this person, and then the label, the value is 0 and 1. So I have not completed it. Let me just copy and paste to the other ones. The value is 0 and 1. So if we come back here now for this person, now this person uses to-do list for work, study, personal, and project manager. So that means I have 1 1 1. Then person, this order wasn't specified, so that will be 0. Then the next one is calendar, and then this person does not use calendar for work study, so that will be 0 for calendar and work study. And then personal tasks and calendar, that will be 1. Calendar and project management, that will also be 0 because it is not checked. Then goal setting will also be 0 as it is not checked. So I hope that's all. So I've entered, I didn't complete everything really, so I've entered all the data for this particular person now. I hope you get the point. So we are assuming like this is one question that was filled. So if you pick another question then you enter it, you pick another one, then you enter it, and like that. So it's advisable for you to have an ID variable. So what I do is the first column I input here, let's just insert a new variable. I call it ID or serial number, and then okay, it does not want me to put the slash. I'm just going to use hyphen. So That's serial number. So now if you come here, there's one variable here. So I'm going to call this one. In fact, if I want to work with paper questionnaire, what I do first is that I just number all the questionnaire, and that number will be the serial number. So as I'm entering the data, I'll enter the serial number too. So that way, if there's a mix up later on, I can just, okay, this is serial number 30. Now I'll go and look for the questionnaire and try to see and try to correct it. If that is not done, then there will be no way how you can actually track your data. So I really hope you learned something new from this video. I hope you learned a lot from this video. You can tweet about what you learned. You can post about it on LinkedIn, and then you can tag me and use the hashtag for the training. If you've not subscribed to this channel, okay, kindly do so. And then I'm going to see you tomorrow. Thank you.